Hello boys and girls, welcome back to the Steak and Brush. I'm Christine, and today I've got some favorites of 2020 for you. I didn't do a November favorites list, mainly, honestly, because I was lazy and just didn't feel like filming. But also, I kind of wanted to do a favorites of the year, and some of those, I just thought it'd be a little redundant. And to be honest, I haven't bought a lot, just because it's, the holidays are coming up, and I'm poor, so I'm trying to spend very little in makeup. I think the only two things that I can think of that I've purchased are the Raw Beauty Christie palette and from Colourpop, and I did just order the Hello Kitty palette and blushes from Colourpop, mainly because my daughter would have killed me had I not gotten those. She loves Hello Kitty, even though she doesn't like makeup. Yeah, so I thought we'd get into this. Today I'm going to do my favorite palettes of 2020. Now, I bought a lot, but nothing compared to what a lot of other people did. So these are, I pulled out and actually ended up kind of cheating a little bit, but 25 palettes in 2020. At least 25 palettes that I liked enough to keep. So there are no absolute horrible duds in here, but just some that I definitely liked more than others. So let's get to it and just kind of go into it. In 25th place is and I believe that, I hope this came out in 2020. I think it did. It's the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean palette. It just, I don't know. It just didn't work for me. The shadows, the formula wasn't as great as I wanted it to be. And maybe it's just because I couldn't get these blues just didn't look all that great on me. That's probably a lot of it. The green colors I liked, and you'll see coming up that I have other green kind of things like this that I really like. This just didn't work for me as well. Will I wear it in the future? Yes, I will still wear it. It's just, out of all the palettes I bought, something has to be the bottom, and this was it. Coming in at number 24, and I'm sure I'm going to lose track here, but at number 24 is the Colourpop Sailor Moon. Let me see if I can get it. Oh yeah, there you can, at least on my monitor, I can see it. Such cute packaging. It has nothing to do with the formula or anything like that. It's just these aren't really, it's not my color story. I like the yellow in here, and I like this bottom row somewhat, but they're leaning towards the pastels, and these neutrals up here are really light. I just, it's a cute collector's kind of item, I don't regret purchasing it, but I just don't wear it a lot because the color story is not really in my wheelhouse. And that's what I'm going to find, or you're going to find a lot in these. I tend to buy the same kinds of, I only have so many different formulas here, so many different companies. So a lot of it ends up being a color story that I like or don't like. And normally I try to stick to a color story that I know I'm going to like regardless of the brand, but sometimes, this next one, this is the My Melody palette from Wet n Wild. Again, it's a Hello Kitty offshoot thing. I don't know anything about these characters, but my daughter loves them. So, I got this, it's a collector's kind of thing. So, and that's the problem with this. These are not, yes, I wear pinks and purples, and this smells like grape, and I love that. It's that artificial Dimetapp grape that you had when you were a kid. And they're just not really my colors. So yeah, that's where we landed on this one. I mean, the formula is decent for Wet n Wild. You know, these palettes were $9.99 for a 16 pan palette. You can't really beat the price. Wet n Wild has decent eyeshadow formula. It's not going to be a Pat McGrath or a Natasha Denona, but you're paying like 10 times less for these than you are for those. So you take it with a grain of salt. You know, if you like these colors, I don't even know if this is available anymore. And I do apologize. Some of these probably were limited edition and not available anymore, but I'm just doing my top 25. But yeah, you know, if you like these colors, go for it, especially if you like the Hello Kitty and the My Karomi. And there's my kitten in the background. Spicy. All right, so next on my list was the Revlon Wonder Woman 1984 palette. I was actually very surprised by this. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. They feel very dry. I think that's why I put it down so low, is that the formula just feels dry to me. The color story is a little wonky, I think. But they performed so much better than I thought they would. I don't think I had used a Revlon, if ever. I don't think I'd ever used a Revlon eyeshadow if I had been like since I was a teenager. And they did perform better than I thought it would. And honestly, this is sat in a drawer that I keep meaning to go back and play with more, and then I just get new stuff and I get distracted. So I haven't played with it that much, but my initial use, I did really like it. So that's why it's kind of down low. Next is actually a Pat McGrath palette. This comes in, this is the, I guess I should give you the name. What is this? The, what does it say on here? Here, okay, this is the Pat McGrath Mothership Rose Decadence palette. I did not get the full-size palette because I couldn't afford it. And I got this one. I'm trying not to blind you with the mirror here. And I like the formula. The problem is I felt like it was lacking a deep color in here. This is the deepest color. This is the deepest color here. Let me show you what this looks like. And it's just, I like something deeper to go in, like my inner corner, outer V kind of thing, or outer V and into my crease. And that's just not really dark enough. I found when I used this with like a black shadow, I really liked it. But I like having a full look out of a palette. And if I can't pull a full look out of it, it knocks it down. And this shimmer, while very pretty, it pulled a little orange for the rest of the palette, I thought. I mean, not that I have a problem with oranges, you know, I love oranges, but I don't like oranges and pinks together. So that kind of bumped it down for me. All right, the next one is a bit of a cheat because I'm combining two. These are the Natasha Denona minis, and they are the mini retro, and this is the mini Zindo palette. The reason these are lower is not I didn't have any problem with them, but I never reach for them. Never, ever, ever reach for them. And that's why they're so low down here. And I keep thinking I should use them together as like a little palette because I think that I could get a lot of looks like that. But I just always forget about them. And like when I look at them originally, like I only see one or two looks that I can get out of them individually. And again, I like to, you know, vary my stuff. But like this chocolate brown color is so beautiful. These two shimmers are not so nice. I need to use them more, but I just, and these two colors here, this like camo green and like the greeny shimmer there. I mean, you know, that's just what I've been wearing a lot lately. I think I just look at it and like this pink throws me off. It just doesn't look as good together as I want it to. And that just throws me off. It's, again, you know, most of these, I'm not talking about the quality of the shadows at all. It's just how they're put together. And while I think I gave positive reviews to almost all of these, you know, when you're ranking, something has to go down at the bottom. My next one we're getting into here is the Wet n Wild. This is the companion for the My Melody. This is the Kuromi palette, and this reached there just because, you know, this is a much more towards the kind of colors I like to use. You know, we've got the purples, and this shimmer is so nice. We have grays. There's a dark black in there. It's got that grape smell. It is starting to dissipate though. Diamond Tap's going away. But, you know, this really spoke to me more than the other one. All right, moving into my next group here. Not that they're grouped by anything in particular, just how I could stack them on my teeny tiny little vanity here. It's not a teeny tiny vanity, but with all the other crap I have on it, it's becoming teeny tiny. The next is the Natasha Denona Love palette. This was the actual first big Natasha Denona palette, and I know this isn't one of her, like, you know, big palettes. This is actually a midi palette, but this is the, you know, first non-mini palette that I received from Natasha Denona. And I love it. I really do. And I wore the hell out of it when it came out around Valentine's Day. I just haven't been wearing it as much because I have so many other things. But the cream shadows do take me a little while to get used to. This one here it's like a deep brownish purpley black. It's so, you know, kind of odd. You can get it to look really dark, or, you know, it can pull that purple. It's really nice. I don't use the purples though so much. I use these. The biggest problem I have is I want this to be red, and it's not. I can swatch it, it kind of comes up red, but as soon on my eyes, as soon as I start blending it out, it goes to pink. That's the biggest problem I have. Okay, next is the Mulan palette from Colourpop. As you can see, I love Colourpop. I buy a lot of Colourpop. That's predominantly, I would say, if you're going to look at my stack, I've got more Colourpop than anything else. It's cheap. I love the formula, and they come out with great collaborations. And this is just a color story that I love. It's this red here is so pretty. I know, they've started this, I believe it's this year. It has these little micro glitters in it. This black here, and these are weird. Actually, this isn't as bad. This is more of a traditional glitter, but they have some of these here. I guess I could show you. Like, these here have a little glitter. You're probably not going to see it on camera, but it's weird because, they, for the most part, they show up matte on your face. So you have to look really hard to see the glitter when it's on your eyes. So I don't see the point of it. It does have these two pressed glitters in it, which I have used. I know not everybody's for pressed glitter. I have to be in a mood, and I have to be very careful about it. I can do it, but, it's not, it's not for everybody. And this, I shouldn't say this year, because I really haven't, I don't know. I didn't buy much Colourpop the year before, but they seem to have really started doing the multi-chrome or the duochromes, and it has this really pretty one here. That's Warrior. So yeah, if you're a Mulan fan, that is definitely one to get, especially if you like Colourpop. I believe they keep restocking this. But yeah, they do keep restocking that, and I think the Sailor Moon, I think they keep restocking too, so keep watching out for that. The next one is Alter Ego Artemis palette. This is the dupe of the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette, and oh, I love this palette. It's like $22. Normally the Natasha Denona is, I believe, $129, and I'm sorry, I'm blinding you with that, aren't I? My monitor stopped working, but I'm still recording. So I'm trying to look in my mirror to see what I'm recording here. And these shades, I mean, the only problem I have with it, and I mentioned it in my review, is, well, there's two problems. There's so many colors that sometimes I get overwhelmed. And it's really weird because some of these palettes I'll say, well, the problem is there's not enough, diversity to it, so I can only pull a couple looks. And then I'll go and complain when there's when there's too much. So yeah, so I'm fickle. You have to deal with that. I'm sorry. And woo, my monitor just came back on. Yeah, and the only other problem is the cream to shadow, their formula of cream to shadow, or cream to powder. Their formula for the cream to powder is, like I said, the Natasha Denona, it takes some getting used to, and this is not as good as it, so it takes even more getting used to, and it's kind of messy. You gotta dig around, and it doesn't look so great in the palettes. Next, and I've completely lost track of where I am. I apologize. So I'm somewhere in the middle. The next is the Wayne Goss. This was his first, the luxury eye palette in Imperial Topaz. You can see, oh, it's so fingerprinty. This is a beautiful palette. It really is. It's 6 pans. These are the colors that I love using for basic kind of everyday looks. It's got a, what do they call it? He calls it a celestial shade. It's got a black in there to deepen things up. My problem with this is I have these colors. I have these colors in the Sultry palette. I have these colors in the Tati palette. For any makeup collector or anybody who has quite a bit of makeup, you don't need these shades. You've already got them. And it was $55 for 6 shades. Good quality, great colors, you just don't need it. That was my problem with it. Speaking of the Sultry palette, this is the C-Color dupe of it. C-Color does their dupes. I believe this one was like $9. So, pretty much all I have to say is if you like the Sultry palette, you would like this palette. It's got all of the, dupes of the colors. There are no, the Natasha Denona has the shades that are the formulas that are tricky to duplicate. Anastasia Beverly Hills so far does not have those tricky kinds of formulas. So this worked really well as a dupe, and I got it. That's really all I have to say about that one. Next is a newer one. This was probably one of the last palettes I just reviewed. This is the Nabla Side by Side nude palette. Beautiful nudes. We've got 16 pans. We've got dark. We've got cool tones, we've got warm tones, so pretty much everything you would need in a nude palette. Formula was great. My problem when I did the review is the same thing I said about the Wayne Goss. If you have nudes, if you have a large makeup collection, you have these colors. The nice thing is they're all here together. So, if you need a nude palette, and you're looking for a good formula, I would highly recommend this. I don't need it, but that doesn't mean it's not a good palette. So there's that one. Next one, I think this is my, no, well, yeah, this is my last dupe company one. This is also Alter Ego. Alter Ego and C Color are probably, I would say, the best dupe companies out there. And I think Alter Ego does the better versions of the Natasha Denona better than C Color does. This is the Goddess palette. This is the dupe of the Natasha Denona Gold palette. You can see it's quite messy, but I love the greens. I love the golds. It only has, does it have any other special formulas? It doesn't look like it does. I don't know if the gold palette does have that cream to powder, but if they did, they didn't dupe it here. So that, you know, I think that's why this one is a little higher up than the Artemis palette. Okay, next we got this so cute Mandalorian. What is this? Yeah, it actually is the Mandalorian palette. I couldn't remember if it was the Mandalorian or the Child palette. But by Colourpop, this one just came out about a month ago. And these colors are exactly... Sorry, my cat is attacking my dog. Stealthily, so stealthily that the dog doesn't even realize it. It's just very cute. So what I was saying, these colors are exactly, if you were to say, what colors do you associate with Baby Yoda? These are the colors that you would pick. I mean, it's perfect for that. Now, if you like the color story, grab this. If you like Star Wars, Mandalorian, if you like all of this, grab it. The thing is, though, like I was saying, hypocritical me, you know, these colors aren't going to work for everybody. You know, they definitely aren't for everybody's skin tones, and, you know, I know there is probably a lot of great, you know, feeling that you needed to grab this because, you know, what it was associated with, but you really didn't. But look at the mirror. Oh, it has the little child there. It's so cute. Yeah, so I loved it, but I know it's not for everybody. Okay, we're down to my last stack. Okay, now this actually ranks higher than I would have thought it would. And I think it's just the color story for it. It just gets me. This is the Fenty. They are, what are these called? Snap shadows. You know, because you can snap them all together. This is number 10. This is is this Money? Yeah, Money palette. And I have just been all over the greens lately. You give me some greens and golds, and that's what I like. You know, I really like these. The biggest problem of these was the cost. These are like $20-25 for 6 pans. I mean, better than the Wayne Goss for, you know, $55. But do you need it? No. And the reason you don't goes into my next one, which is also a cheat. My next number here, which, let's see, we're 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 8. Elf. You could get this instead. I mean, the colors aren't exactly the same, but they are so close. This is only 4 pans, but you know what? This is $3 freaking dollars. 3. And these are nice. I have 2 others. This is the, well, I guess I should say this one, the green one, is called Hot Jalapeno. Then I've got the Pumpkin Pie, and then Truffles. There's several more that I want to go out and get. Not all of them are my cup of tea, but it's just the color story. But they're $3. 4 pans, you can make a look. I mean, you don't need those Fenty, the snap shadows when you've got these. I love these. And I don't know why I like these so much, and I didn't like the Earth and Ocean palette. like I said, the only thing I can chalk it up to is all the blues, which I like blues, but they never look as good as I want them to on me. I see everybody else wear them, like, I want to do that. And then I do it and it just doesn't look as good on me. So yeah, these are just wonderful for the price. If you're a makeup beginner, even if you're not, if you have tons of makeup, these are still nice. You probably have these somewhere, but for $3, you're not wasting any money. These are perfect for, somebody who just, I want to do a different makeup every day. Some people don't. If you're one of those people, these are perfect to get you through. These are perfect work palettes and everyday palettes, and I love these. Even though there's 3, I'm counting them as 1. Number 7 is the Glam Light Street Taco Palette. It's actually the first Glam Light palette I've ever had. I will be buying more. Kind of looking at that, what's their new palette one? The one that looks like the artist palette. I kind of like the original better, so I might try that one. I don't know. There's just, actually, you know what I really liked? And I didn't get it. They have the Christmas one, because again, I'm trying not to buy anything. The one that looked like a cherry pie. I really want to try that one. But yeah, back to where I was talking about, they just have these bright, bold colors. Not for everyone, but I love them. And these shimmers. Let me get... Glam Light doesn't mess around with their shimmers. Let's see those. Let's see. I mean, those are just stunning. I'm very impressed by what I got from Glam Light, and I will definitely be going and getting more from them. But this is the first time I'd ever tried them, and it hit my top 10. So yeah, love this. I would definitely recommend trying them out. They're not like super expensive. If you wait till you get their bundles, like I got that in a bundle for like $40, and it had 2 eyelashes, that palette, 2 lip glosses, and a highlighter. So that's a good deal. My next one is my last Wet n Wild palette. This is the Coffee Cat. If you don't like scented products, and I know usually I'm like, why would you scent a product? You don't need to, that's just overkill. But I love the smell of coffee, even though I hate the taste of it. This palette is so pretty. Again, it's kind of like a basic bronzy palette. It's 16 colors, everything you would need for a nice bronzy palette here. This one again was $9.99. Is it Natasha Denona quality? No. But it is good quality for $10. And so if you like these colors, this is a great way to go. Speaking of which, of Natasha Denona, I find that many colors in there are a dupe for the Natasha Denona bronze palette. I love this thing. But when this is my next one. This is 7. I went above it, then above the Coffee Cat, the Wet n Wild, because it is better quality. But this one is like $65. This is $9.99. This actually has one more shade in it. Not all of them match up entirely. So, if you very specifically like all of these, you're not going to get all of those colors in the Wet n Wild. But yeah, these, especially if you love bronzy colors, gold colors, and you love shimmers. This has a lot of shimmers in it. And it does have 2, I think it has 2 of the cream to powder ones. And of course, Wet n Wild does not dupe that formula at all. I don't even think, they didn't advertise that as a dupe or anything like that. I had just gotten it, fairly recently after this one. I thought, yeah, those are a lot alike. If you're more interested in that, I do have a video on it. I'm sure I will forget to put it up in the eye, but I do have, if you look back a couple months. All right, number 4 is the Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership Mega Celestial Divinity. This is actually what I'm wearing today. This is the first of the big palettes of hers that I have purchased, because this one was only, and I say only, $78. Normally her 10 pan palettes are $129, and so for this to be $78, and of course I got it during sales and stuff, so I didn't even pay close to $78. That's a deal, because there's 18 pans in here. From what I understand, they're smaller than the regular pans, and they say this packaging, oh look, I forgot to take this off. I know some people love that, so do I, so I'll leave it in there. I know some people say this was cheaper. This seems fine to me. If you want to keep making this kind of packaging to lower your price, I'm all for it. And go for smaller pans. These people putting out these huge pans, I know Wayne Goss is one of them. I understand if you're only going to do one palette, you want to have big pans, but when you've got 100 eyeshadow palettes, you do not need big pans, because you're never going to go through it all. This leans heavily purple. Obviously I'm wearing the purples today. And I keep meaning to do it, but I never actually do. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow will be my day. There are a lot of orangey tones in here. They just don't kind of put them together, so you don't think about it. So, like this and this and this down here. I'm going to try. I promise I'll try that. But you look at it and you think, oh, I got to do a purple look. But this has several of her duochromes in it. It's actually almost all shimmer and duochrome. There are only 1, 2, 3 true mattes in here. However, I have found if you do it right and you're careful, you can use some of these shimmers almost as a matte. Her shimmers apply better with fingers. So if you use a brush on some of the, we'll say, milder shimmers, you can get a matte look out of it. I have this color in my crease today, and you wouldn't, right, yeah, and you wouldn't know that it was a shimmer. Let me see how, I mean, if you look at it like that, yes, it's definitely a shimmer. And that, it's definitely a shimmer. But when you kind of put it on with a brush and blend it out, it doesn't shimmer as much. So I have found that I can use that in other places. So there's that. All right, we're down to the top 3. I can't do a drum roll. Number 3 is the Colourpop Sandstone, which I didn't hear many people talking about. I don't know. People talk about Colourpop, they're releasing stuff all the time. I know they're releasing stuff all the time. But here's the thing. You don't have to buy it all the time. So, I pick and choose what I want. And sometimes, yeah, I'm a little tempted, but then I have to look back and say, no, I don't need those colors at all. But this, this is so beautiful. And this is 18 pans. Normally they don't do this many pans, I think, although they just came out with that big rainbow palette. But yeah, this is so freaking pretty. It's messier though than a lot of their others, but I loved this, pretty much this whole collection. I bought the whole thing. The only thing, it had like the bronzing oil for your skin, and that's just not me at all. But yeah, okay, first of all, it's got this yellow. You know, if you've watched me, I love this yellow. And then, oh, we've got this red. You know, I just love like sunsetty kind of colors. Canyon Loop. You know, those are the things, you know, I'm normally going to go for. But then they've got this green here. So pretty. And then Desert Sky. It's like a multi-chrome or a duochrome. I can make so many looks out of that palette. And, you know, I love Colourpop formula. Obviously, I've got all of these. And these weren't even all my Colourpops. I bought lots last year. I even bought old ones this year, but they didn't come out in 2020, so they're not here. Alright, number 2 is my last Colourpop palette. And it is the Raw Beauty Kristi at Forest Sight. This is just, first of all, and I know this is more Raw Beauty Kristi than anything else, but the packaging is so beautiful. I don't even like mushrooms, and I'm not a woodsy kind of girl, but oh, look how pretty it is. And on the back, it's got the colors with, you know, the names with, you know, all this watercolory kind of drawing. It's very, very pretty. And you just know, you know, this is, if you watch Raw Beauty Kristi, this is her aesthetic completely. This first row, just all those colors that I just picked out of the Sandstone collection. It, you know, I mean, they're not the same, obviously, but they fit in that same kind of category. These are the colors that get me right there in that top row. And then we've got this nice duochrome, a very nice gold shimmer. I actually haven't played with the purple as much, and this is a brownie purple. I have used that, but and then, you know, these blues and greens, these, you know, this green is so pretty. I'm very, very into these kind of colors right now. You know, these can be a little hard and intimidating to work with, but, you know, if you play with them, you can, you know, pull good stuff. And then this is like this is one of those that has that little micro glitter in it, but it's a black, but it also sort of has like a little reddish tint to it. I don't know how well that's going to show up there, but, you know, that's a really, that one actually does stand out more with the micro glitter, because the glitter in it, if you look at it, and I'm sure it's not going to show up there, but the glitter is red in it. So, oh, that's so, so pretty. So can you guess what my favorite is? What, you know, if you've watched my channel this year, what have I raved about? And I haven't mentioned yet. It's another Raw Beauty Kristi palette. This bitch had the best year ever. It is her first collaboration that she had with Pure. Not a Pure, you know, I'm not really big into Pure cosmetics, but man, this palette, this color, Camelot, is probably my favorite eyeshadow color of all time. I love this color. I will wear it over and over and over again. And I love this bee with it, this brown. Such a warm, beautiful brown, just like this whole row I'd wear over and over and over again. This gold shimmer, it's not overpowering, so, you know, I can wear it a lot. You know, it is a messy palette. It is so, the pigments are so soft, so they make a lot of mess, but who cares? And then you've got the brights, so, you know, and you can combine sides, but, you know, you can do a neutral, you can do a bold, you can do in between. This red, my hand's still a little wet, but red here, this yellow, oh. And then we've got, you know, those similar to her other palette. I did, on my review of the At Forest Sight, look at the similarities between the two, palettes, and while yes, there are some similarities, the colors are different. I don't necessarily think you need both of them, and unfortunately I think this one is gone, so you would have to buy it secondhand. The At Force site is gone, but they're restocking it with Colourpop, so you will be able to get it again. So, you know, I hate that my number one palette that you can't buy it new anymore, but I gotta be honest, it's my favorite palette of the year. She knocked it out of the park with this. If you watch her videos, she explains, I mean, she had her hand, obviously she was very involved with the Colourpop one as well, but I mean, this one, she drew all of the pictures on the outside. You know, she designed the palette. She told them, you know, this is what I want. Not that this is new, but you know, she picked it out. You know, the insides have the drawings in here as well. This formula apparently is new to Pure. It's not in their other palettes, which is probably why their other palettes are not good, but this one is, at least in my opinion, the ones I've tried. So this is my number one palette of the year. Thanks for sticking around. I know this is probably a very long video, but you know, I wanted to get it all out. I will break out my other favorite things into other videos. Probably not, you know, I probably won't have one dedicated to every single category. I'll probably combine categories, but eyeshadow palettes are what I buy the most of. So, you know, this is what I had the most to talk about. So yeah, tell me, what did you think? Which of these palettes made your favorite list? Did any of these make your fails list? And what made your favorites list that I didn't mention that I should try? But thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.